Hi, I'm Candace. Welcome to Fitness and Harmony. Today, we're going to do change is certain. So we're looking at this new year and a new time, and we bring ourselves into this with mental clutter, with beliefs and what we call negativity bias. The brain has a default neural network. And that network is sort of our daydream state, that thoughts are always going around in there, and feelings and emotions and just fragments of thoughts, even when you don't think that you're thinking. Now, we also have our prefrontal cortex, which tries to reason and make sense, kind of like when you wake up in the morning, you go, what was that dream? And you try to make sense of it, and you're trying to put all the pieces, and it doesn't even make sense, and you can't even remember it. But there's a big part of our brain is just always creating thoughts. If we can access that part of the brain and try to silence it, or at least reprogram it to be more peaceful, then all of our thoughts and all of our experiences will feel better. For today, we're going to do poses to accept change, because change is certain and we have this mental clutter. So the poses today are designed to take out the old and bring in the new. So if you have the blocks and a strap, we can do that. So we're really just going to do poses today to make ourselves feel better. So from here, come to a seated pose. Now I'm going to suggest hero pose. Like I said, you may not have moved for a while, and so hero pose is not accessible to you. But if it is, this is the one where you sit either back on your heels or on a blanket so that your knees are in front of you. So if you can, you're bringing the knees together. If you can't, just stay in easy pose a little bit longer. The purpose of hero's pose is to bring you here. So it's like a meditative pose to cue your mind, I am here now. Wherever you are, let your arms relax down, pull your shoulders down and back. So for the first time in a few days, go inside and correct your posture. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. I want to invite you to begin by fully claiming who you are. So for this moment, don't worry about your posture. For this moment, go inside below the sounds and the thought waves of your conscious, awake mind. Let go of the outer world. Who are you when you're not you? Meaning your outer representation of how you are in the world. Who are you inside? Now begin breathing all the way down into your pelvis. Notice the contents there. And then when you exhale, draw those contents in and up. So when you inhale, down all the way into your pelvic bowl. When you exhale, pull in and up. So the first step in changing your mental clutter and creating what they call mental silence is knowing what you want. Like if you're going to the bank today, you have to know why you're going. You wouldn't just show up there. Know why you are here. I'm going to set an intention for myself of peacefulness and acceptance. Even though my body and my mind aren't what I want them to be today, even though what's shown up here on the mat doesn't feel as good as it has felt before, my goal is to accept me, to fully claim who I am on the inside and not compare it to the image on the outside. Keep pulling the contents of the lower belly inward and create an inner strength that these poses will then repeat. Inner strength, because you are innately unbreakable. Whatever's on the inside there has never changed and will not break, regardless of what happens on the outside. Do 3 slow breaths. And then open your eyes. Let's come all the way down and onto the belly. So move, your stuff out of the way and move slowly. Like, give yourself a break. It's been a hard couple of days. Even though most of us have been thinking we're resting, we really haven't been doing something that serves us. So once you come down to the belly, we're going to prepare for cobra. So walk the legs together, bring the feet and the heels together, turn the toes so that the top of your feet and the top of your toes are pressing down into the floor. So for a moment, analyze and notice the tops of the feet and push them into the floor. That's it. So the first step was knowing where you want to go and setting your intention. The next step is to accept what you find. I can't do anything with an exaggerated or an imaginary image of who I am. I have to accept where I am, who I am, and what's happening right now. Now bring the hands next to the sides of the chest. Press all the fingers into the floor. Now pull the shoulders down and back and scoop the belly up and off the floor. So bring the nose sort of down so it's pointing straight at the floor so that you're elongating the back of the neck. Pull the shoulders down again and make the top of the shoulders broad and like you're stretching them out. Now pinch your elbows into the sides of your ribs. Pull the belly in and up. So the purpose of this moving cobra, we're about to do moving cobra, is to connect to the collective life force. So I'm not creating all of this mayhem. We all are creating everything that's going on inside and around us. As you inhale, push the tops of the feet down. As you exhale, push your hands down and lift your chest up, not even an inch. As your chest comes up, hold that there and pull your shoulders down from your ears even further. Inhale here. And exhale, let the chest and the head come back down so your nose comes almost to the floor and you relax your shoulders a little bit. Inhale, push the feet into the floor. Exhale, pull the belly in, push with your hands, levitate the head and the chest a little bit up off the floor, but as you do that, pull the shoulders down vigorously. Inhale when you get here. And exhale, come back down. So coming back down means alleviate all the stress and tension in the body. Inhale, push the feet into the floor. Exhale, push the hands, levitate the chest, pull the shoulders down and squeeze the abdominals. Inhale. Exhale, come back down. So sort of soften the gluteals for a moment. Soften the upper back for a moment. Breathe in all the way into the pelvis. Breathe out. Let's try this again. Inhale, push the feet into the floor. Exhale, push the palms down. Lift the chest up. Pull the shoulders down vigorously. Squeeze the lower abdominals. Inhale. And then exhale, come back down. From here, push up into hands and knees pose. Inhale. Exhale into cow pose. Hold that pose. We're just pausing to reflect. Giving yourself time to notice. Remember I said we have to accept what's there. So we're pausing to reflect, to tune into the sensations that exist. On your next exhale, flow into cat pose. Noticing how your back, how your spine, how these joints feel like they haven't moved in 100 years. That's normal to feel that way. If you didn't feel anything, that means that you actually hadn't moved in many years. And so nothing can move. So that feeling of being stuck is actually a good sign. Come back to a flat spine. Let's try turning the toes under, lifting the knees up. and pushing the hips back. So keep the knees vigorously, generously bent. So the purpose of downward dog here is to elongate. So we'll do this. Inhale. As you exhale, lift the hips up another 1/4 inch. Hold there. Drop your head down. Inhale. Now as you exhale, push your hips further back 1/4 inch. Hold there. Inhale. Exhale, drop your head down. Now drop your heels down just a little bit and hold that there. Spin your arm bones inward so that your thumb is pushing down hard into the floor. Inhale. Exhale, drop your head. Widen the tops of the shoulders. Inhale. As you exhale, come back down. Walk all the way forward and back down onto the belly. Let's try that moving cobra again. Walk the legs together. Turn so that the tops of the feet are pressing on the floor. This time, bring your hands a little forward of the shoulders. So before they were down and next to the chest or the shoulders, bring them a little bit forward on the mat. Inhale. Exhale, push the feet down. Push with your hands. Pull the shoulders down. Rise up and collect. Collect that energy. Remember, Cobra is the collective life force that you and I and all of us are universally connected. Inhale. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, try again. So push down to rise up. Collect like all the winds of the earth and all of the energies of the world are coming into your belly and giving you the energy to do what you want to do. And come back down. Try that one more time. As you exhale, you're pushing down, rising up, but you're elongating the spine, so pulling the belly up the front part of the spine, and then come back down. Slide your hands next to your ribs. Push back into child's pose. Inhale. As you exhale, say to yourself, I am the love that I seek. Try that again. I am the love that I seek. Inhale, prepare. Exhale up to hands and knees. Let's try this downward dog again. So using the fingertips, press down, lift the hips, and push the hips back. Remember, we're keeping the knees really bent today. We're not really trying to stretch the hamstrings. On your exhale, lift the hips up another 1/4 inch and hold as you exhale and soften the head down. Try again. Exhale, push the hips further back to re-elongate the spine, and you drop the head. Now when you exhale, try to drop your heels a little bit down and spin the arms inward. 2 breaths here. Then begin walking all the way forward to forward fold. I'm keeping my knees super, super bent today. I'm not ready for those big stretches. All I'm doing today is trying to clear out the default neural mode, which is one of daydreaming and creating. And I really don't want to create more thoughts. I've got plenty. I want to clear the mental clutter, the little thoughts that I have been ruminating. Negative thoughts that are on repeat, rumination. Bring your hands to your knees and come up, either with a flat back or a rounded back, but squeeze and collect the abdominals. Come to the front of your mat and bring your hands into the heart. Touch the thumbs to the center of the heart. Spread the toes out. Lower your eyelids down. So I want you to practice creating peace. If I were to tell you, create a warrior pose, you would know what that looks like, and you would know the patterns of movement to do. But I'm asking you, create peace. So if in your mind, in your heart, and your body, there were peace, what parts of your body would be doing that? Where is there peace? Where do you create that? What sensation arises around the feeling of peace? Do that. for me. I feel a softness inside my head. I feel an expansiveness around my heart. I feel my shoulder muscles relax. Do 3 breaths, creating peace. Good, and then open your eyes. Let's take one leg and step it towards the back of the mat in a high lunge. Now, I tried this before I went on air today, and I only stepped back about an inch. So if your high lunge isn't all the way to the back of the mat, that's okay. Let your high lunge be what it is today. On your exhale, twist away from that back leg. So you're twisting in the direction of your front leg, and so you're turning your heart in the opposite direction. That should be a pretty serious and big stretch on the front of the hip flexor, the back leg. Remember, we're clearing out this mental clutter, so we're about to twist. 2 breaths, holding, teaching this side. Abdominal waist to move us. Now hinge forward, bring this front elbow to the knee. If it reaches, maybe it's just your hand can come down to the knee. Take this opposite arm and stretch it out, up and back behind you. So imagine your body's like a compass rose, right? So head to heel is north-south, and kind of shoulder to shoulder is east-west. So I want you to expand in every direction. The purpose of this pose is just that, to take that collective life force and expand it out in every direction. So I am the universal energy. I am the love that I seek. One more breath. There's a lot going on in this pose. Push off, come back up. Bring your hands to your heart to reconnect with that life force, and then step forward into Tadasana. Good. Let's try the other leg. So lift the other knee. Step it all the way back. Again, give yourself a break if it doesn't go where you expected it to go. So regain your balance. Give this 2 or 3 breaths for the mind to settle in. One of the reasons we do all these poses is to give your active mind something to do. When you exhale, now twist in the opposite direction. So the direction of this front leg. So this is called revolved because you're going in the opposite direction of your legs. Stay consistent, stay curious. So keep your breath going in and out. Deciding to actually create this peacefulness in your movements. Now scoop the belly in to create strength. Hinge forward. See if this elbow reaches this front knee, and kind of lean a little bit onto it. If it doesn't, maybe your hand. When you exhale, extend the opposite arm up and back. So the shoulder stays down and there's a long line. The purpose of this revolved angle pose is to expand in all directions like a compass rose, north, south, east, and west. To shake out the old and then utilize this collective life force. 2 more breaths. Turn back to center. Use your abdominals to push off. Step forward into Tadasana. Boy, I felt that. Inhale, circle up. Exhale to forward fold. When you're in forward fold, I'm going to suggest taking your feet wider, maybe holding on to the block, so you can shake your head. So imagine your head is like a shaker of some seasoning, like pepper. Pepper never seems to come out at first. So you're shaking to try to get that stuff out of the shaker. And then stop. And now try rocking your pelvis forward and back like a cat-cow. So the mind is in there. It's noticing the movements of the body, and it's taking it in, and it's creating new movement patterns that allow for peacefulness, that allow for whatever your goal was. 2 slow breaths here. Maybe just hold still. And then bend your knees and step back into downward dog. The purpose of downward dog, however you take downward dog today, is to shake out, to re-elongate the space. So many of us have been kind of crumpled up together, huddled. Let all of your radiant light expand in every direction. Remember the lesson from that extended angle pose we were just in. In this downward dog, the purpose is to shake out and elongate. Come all the way down. Grab your strap, if you need it, to come down to the belly. And bring it behind you. If you can clasp your hands, you don't have to have the strap. So the purpose of the strap is so that you can hold something behind your back. I'm going to spin my hands so that my thumbs are pointing out, so that my chest stays open. Now, from there, if you can clasp your hands, you can clasp your hands. There's another option. Squeeze your legs together hard, as if you have, something there that you're squeezing. So the purpose of this locust pose is focus. Kind of rhymes with it. So squeeze the legs together, lift the legs up. Now lift the arms and push your hands towards your heels. Bow the front body. So you're going to lift the head, but don't really look up. Stay looking just forward. Good. Squeeze those inner thighs together. This one is full of energy, full of brightness. It's to focus your mind. 3 breaths holding. Still. Those mental waves. 2. And let go. I'm going to put the strap aside. Push back into child's pose. I'm going to take these knees wide so that my low back can rest. I want you to go back to your practice of creating peace and acceptance. Where in your body do you feel peace and acceptance? If we can train the default neural network to go back to these feelings of peace, then that becomes who we are. It is shown that during yoga and meditation, this part of your brain lights up much more than in non-trained yoga people. So we can retrain the mind, the brain, to create the results that we want. Do 3 slow breaths. Quiet the mind. Now collect the abdominals. Come up to hands and knees. Let's try moving into pigeon pose. So slide one knee forward so it lands sort of between your thumbs. Take that foot and wiggle it a little bit off to the side edge of your mat if you can. Then slide your other leg, the back leg, back. So one leg just crossed in front and then one is straight back and behind you. Good. I'm pausing because there are so many pieces and parts of pigeon that could be holding you back here. So I want to give you a moment to wiggle and find You know, like you're loosening a knot. You ever had a knot in your shoelace? You start pulling on one and then you have to pull on the other and then you have to sort of pull on both equally. Exactly what we're doing. Then bow down. So come down. Evenly though, try not to twist at all. The purpose of pigeon pose in our meditation to accept change is to bow, to accept, to have humility. I don't have the answers. I just know I am here. I'm showing up, fully claiming who I am, knowing that I am unbreakable. But now I'm bowing to accept whatever the answers are, whatever I find inside of me. 3, 2, 1 more breath. Pull the abdominals in, tighten around the waist, push off from your hands, push back into child's pose. Elongate the spine, so more than child's pose, this is more like a puppy pose. Brighten the chest, brighten the back. Come back up. Let's try the other leg in pigeon pose. Knee forward, walk the foot across to the opposite edge. Slide the other leg back, but stay even. Stay consistent and curious. When you're ready, bow down. I'm still. Personally, I'm still working on something I feel in my back I hadn't felt before. So I'm staying curious about that. Not going to push harder until all of the forces are equalized. All right, so coming down for me feels better. What can you let go of? Remember, I asked you the very first thing today was to let go of the outer world, to become fully conscious and claim who you are. The purpose of pigeon is to bow to accept and to ask for what you need. I always ask people, what do you need? And they always say, I don't know. So you can't get your needs met if you don't know what they are. So bow down, accept. Maybe you don't know. That's okay. You don't have to fill every moment with a thought. It's okay to not have an answer. 2, 1. Brace your abdominals, pull them in, push off, but this time we'll come around. So roll onto your hip and take the leg in front. Have that strap handy as you prepare to roll down to the floor. When you get there, hug the knees into the chest. All right, after all of those pigeons and downward dogs and that revolved extended angle, this knee to chest pose feels really safe. It feels like I wanted to stay here the whole time, finally. So give yourself the breath here. Inhale down into the pelvis. Exhale up from the pelvis. Fully expand when you inhale. When you exhale, I am the love that I seek. I am the love that I seek. So even as we move into our next pose, I want you to continue creating the peace, creating the love and acceptance that your body is capable of manifesting, of creating. It's a thought. It's not magic. It's a thought. All right, so grabbing the strap now, let's try that. It's called hand to big toe. So let's say you have incredibly short legs and your hand actually can grab your toe, then do that and then straighten the knee. But for the rest of you, use the strap, loop it around the ball of the foot and pull. Now here's the action. The hip of the leg that you've got, swivel it down so that it's not hiked up into your face. Swivel it down so it's like pulling down into the opposite heel that's on the floor. So that hip is fully swiveled down and pressed into the earth. So your hands are helping pulling that hip down, like you're driving it down into the earth. This is a stretch for the back of the leg. But more importantly to me today, it's resetting the relationship of my legs to my hips. It's pushing the bones back in place. So the purpose of this pose is to stay mobile, to keep the hips moving. Direct your breath and your energy to the back of this leg. Even though chances are your hands are pulling, hand to big toe, create the peace. So again, for me, peace was a softening in my shoulders, an expansiveness in my chest, and a feeling of lightness in my head. Soften the shoulders, expand the chest, and feel lightness in your head. Then we'll switch to the other foot. Good. Once you've got that going, the action here is to swivel this hip down so you're lengthening your side waist, and then push your hip down into the floor. So use the strap or your hands to pull straight down. Even if your leg is out there and bent, you can still drive the force and the line of energy into the hip. So for this hand to big toe, we're staying mobile. So we've gone through accepting where we are right now, knowing where it is we want to go, setting an intention, trying to calm the mental waters so that we can see clearly. And now we're getting ready for the action of moving into where we want to be. This is like the best part of all. Create that mental stillness and peace. It might be a thought. I am peace. I am in a space that supports me. I am grateful. I am abundance. Good, and then release that. So take the strap off. We're going to come up to bridge pose. So walk your heels in. Tuck your shoulder blades under and then lift your hips up. I'm going to choose to use my hands to support my hips today. So my elbows are kind of wide and my hands and my palms are under my hips, not my thumb. You could break your thumb doing that. Don't do that. All right, my goal in this pose, this supported bridge pose, is to fill the heart with compassion. So imagine that all the stuff that you've been filling up with all these days has been residing at the base of the spine. And it all got in there and it got stuck and you felt over full and you felt over, I guess, just unmoving. Now that's all been loosened up. So now we're taking the hips and lifting the hips up, 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 so that I can fill my heart with the compassion that I seek. Come all the way back down. Bring your hands next to your hips and press your palms into the floor. Now lift the legs straight up. If you have the ability, roll your hips off the floor and catch them. If you don't have the ability, either leave the hips down or use this rolled up blanket. So I might just slide the blanket under my hips and then just lift the legs up that way. There's another way. You don't want to use your hands. My only caution to you is don't fling your hips so high up over your head that you roll up onto your neck. So only go, a foot at most. All right, so a lot of us have the blanket. I like that option. So we're going to call this supported shoulder stand. Our shoulders are on the floor and our hips are up a little bit higher. Same thing. This calms the brain. So before we were taking the contents of the pelvic bowl or the low back and spilling it into the heart and calming the heart and filling my heart with compassion. Now we're taking that love and compassion and calming the brain. So I want you to stay here another 5 breaths. I know this seems like a long time. If you're holding with your hands, you may want or have to come down. That's okay. 3. 2 and 1. All right, so coming down, I'm going to suggest a bridge pose. So heels in, hips up. I almost clear my blanket here. The purpose is to do the counter stretch so that the front of the body opens up. Remember, this is spilling the contents of the deep pelvic bowl into the heart to build compassion. So I need lots of compassion. I don't feel sorry for me or anyone else. So I have to work hard on compassion. That you know what you need. After 2 more breaths, come down. Swing the hips side to side slowly. Twist it out. Remember, the purpose of that extended angle pose was to expand energy, the collective life force throughout the universe from myself outward. So we're twisting. It's to expand, to sort of spin out, radiate outward. Pause. Create that stillness. And then move slowly into Shavasana. Know that this inner wisdom has always been here. Sit quietly in this wisdom and ask nothing of it. Remembering the lessons from locust pose, focus your mind on an inner space that's quiet. But imagine that this inner space is part of everything, like a gateway, like an opening. Through this opening, through this gateway, through the connection, there is well-being. And the well-being that you seek is right here. Exactly as you are now. Rest quietly with the self and anything that's not the self. Even if there are parts that aren't serving you, accept that they are and stay open to change. Accept whatever message is here now. You are innately unbreakable. Good. Open your eyes and then make your way all the way back up. Good. So find your way back into Sukhasana and then join me here. Bring the hands together, pull the shoulders down and back. As you engage the lower abdominals, feel a renewed strength. Inhale and now circle up and stretch up. Exhale, slowly return back to where you are changed. Namaste.